So strengthening animal welfare through mandatory video surveillance monitoring. As a part of the industry, AAWCS has been developed. The program was released in 2013, and it is a voluntary standard that the processors have elected to uptake. It's underpinned by the AAWCS standard, and it's independently audited by AusMeat for the meat processors. It demonstrates Australia's commitment to best practice, and we can say that very proudly because we've just done a full review of animal welfare standards across the world, and the AAWCS standards actually is a cut above majority of those other world standards, so that's including the EU and the US standard. It integrates mandatory international commercial requirements, so your EU, your US, other customer country requirements, we can sort of integrate them and demonstrate that we comply here in Australia. So AusMeat's role within the program is that we administer the AAWCS audits on behalf of the industry, and we report it back to the Australian Meat Industry Language and Standards Committee. Whenever there is an issue, we report that back to the Animal Welfare Certification Subcommittee. So AusMeat just gives the information, and the committee is actually made up from members across the industry, and they determine the outcome that needs to be taken effect. We manage the program rules, so how the audits will be conducted and actions that can be taken can be suggested. We approve and verify the processes. The scope, it does include sheep, cattle, pigs, goats, buffalo, deer and horses. Currently we don't have any horses certified in Australia at the moment. In the standards, it's management requirements, so that goes through from management commitment. It is looking at adopting animal welfare culture, so teaching your entire staff about animal welfare. So not just the guys out in the yard, it's the whole company that will actually get animal welfare training or animal welfare knowledge, because we found that our processing sector now does not have a lot of knowledge around best animal welfare practices. Resource requirements, so making sure that there are sufficiently trained staff across the whole business, not just throwing somebody out there that doesn't understand cattle or livestock. Management care of livestock, so that's continually changing and growing, and then the humane stunning and sticking processes. So this standard is an outcomes-based standard which has been developed based on science. In the program, we have a total of 85 certified process establishments, 74 which are meat processors and 11 that are under the trademark. So if you're purchasing product from a supermarket and you see the AAWCS logo, that means that they have a full supply chain through to their further processors. Some key program statistics. We have had 42 audits conducted so far this year with 64 minor cars, which is a decrease from 74 this time last year, and 4 major cars, which is actually 1 increase from this time last year. We've had 3 critical incidents raised. These can be raised in different ways, so the department audits the actual animal welfare audits that we conduct, and then with other parties that provide evidence. So we are all probably aware of the farm transparency page and the activists that get in and they put cameras in. Anytime that something is released and it's a certified site, it gets referred to the Animal Welfare Subcommittee and a full investigation is conducted. That can lead to the site being withdrawn from the program or suspended until further investigation, or they can demonstrate that they can comply with the animal welfare standard. The evolution of the standard, so as things come to light or we learn new things about what's happening in the industry, the standard gets a review and up to date. There was a new part of the standard released in January 1st this year, which includes mandatory video surveillance monitoring. So having cameras in place, in the past it was voluntary. You didn't have to have them in place, but now it's mandatory and it comes into effect where you will be audited on 1st of January 2026. So far we only have 5 sites that don't comply with this requirement. The rest of the sites have all actually taken it on board and are using it in their day-to-day activities. It needs to be installed in the key areas, so not everywhere, but in your key processing areas. So unloading, movement of larrage to the stunning area, restraint and stunning, and shackling, housing, hoisting and sticking. So From those key areas, that's the majority of animal welfare critical incidents would be raised around. But it also, I'll go through that. How it will be used is the captured footage will allow anytime monitoring by the site. So you could be a plant manager and you can check your cameras straight away. You can review it at any time. You can check in that your staff training, so you may have a new operator out there that you're letting out there by himself for the first time. It allows you to monitor him, but not put pressure on him. He doesn't know that you're there. And it also allows after-hour activities, so we know that unloading can happen at any time throughout the night. If there is an incident, it allows the site to go back and review the footage. If there is a reported critical animal welfare incident, it also allows the site to do a full investigation. So we know that stuff with livestock happens very fast, and to be able to go back and review the footage in depth with a team and determine the best possible corrective action to implement or what may have actually caused the issue to occur, it's really vital in making sure that it doesn't happen again. We also will be implementing that we will review the footage under audit as well. So we will select random date and time frames, and we will review a minimum of half an hour of footage from different date ranges across that audit period. A full review of the standard is currently underway. So the standard review committee's been formed, which is being led by an independent animal welfare expert. So it's somebody from industry, but it's not anyone on the actual subcommittee. The review includes interpretation guidelines, the audit checklist, and the program rules. So how we administer those, how you can interpret the rules of the standard. So there's a whole other guide that lets you go through all that together as well. And the review is scheduled to be conducted over the next couple of months and completed by the end of the year. And that is me done. I have plenty of time.
Thank you, Ashleigh. We have plenty of time for questions.
No.
There's a question coming.
Hi. I just had one question regarding the video surveillance.
Yep.
There's certain legislations that protect staff from being filmed. How does that feature, or how is that being met?
So they actually went under the SEDEX program, which is the ethical thing. It is actually going to be a part of the employee agreements. So if they're going to work out in those areas, they have to be a part of the agreement. It goes along with some of the EU rules where the operators actually have to sign a declaration that they've never had any animal welfare issues as well. So it does limit sometimes of who you can put out there, but yeah, they do have to have an agreement with their employees that they can be under that more footage. And that also has to go out to their transporters as well, because the transporters will be under footage as well when they're delivering to those sites, but it'll be a requirement of being able to deliver to those sites. So unfortunately, the way the world moves is that we have to put these people under, and unfortunately wherever you go these days you seem to be under surveillance. So
Hey Ashleigh, I just had a question around, is 1 month long enough if the incident's potentially reported slightly later, and who mandates that?
the 1
In terms
month.
of the timing.
So that was
Yeah.
just what was agreed when the standard was reviewed and developed. The problem is how much footage, and the sites actually being have the capacity to store that data. So it's a massive cost to industry to be able to, so some standards do require 3, and a majority of the plants do maintain a minimum of 3 months. But it was, yeah, the cost of the industry around it. So.
Any other questions? Excellent. Thanks, Ashleigh.